the most popular tema will be on the issue of turnout. So we all know that the SPR has already announced that the date of the election will be held in the middle of the week, 9th May of 2018. So the question is very specific on invoke projection. So the projection that has been made in the, on the end of March project that Pakatan Harapan will win 89 seats in Semenanjung, Malaysia. Will the lower turnout rate, like say for example 65 to 70, will change the numbers slightly different? Maybe we'll start with YB Rafizi.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullah and good evening. I have a problem with my voice, so you have to strain your ears, your ears a bit. Rosma must be laughing. On the issue of turnout, the turnout that we use in all our simulations and predictions so far was based on the average turnout that we get from all the surveys. Because the first question we asked over the last 18 months was, if there is an election tomorrow, are you going to turn out to vote? Over the last 18 months, the rate has been very high. It's between 79 to 83%. So to your question, whether a change to Wednesday will have an impact, it certainly will have an impact on the turnout. In terms of how it will change the result, it actually depends on state by state. Because the turnout is most sensitive in states whereby UMNO's Malay votes exceed Pakatan's Malay votes, because then we will have to depend on the non-Malay turnouts to balance the votes. We have 4 tiers of states. We have the first tier of states where the Malay votes in these states for Pakatan already exceed Barisan Nasionals. Those states are Selangor, Wilayah and Kedah. So in our assessment, although we don't actually have a precise prediction what would be the likely turnout, based on the simulations, because the Malay votes in these 3 states already exceed BN's Malay votes, even with a lower turnout, it will hardly change the result. So you are looking at about 20 parliamentary seats in Selangor quite intact, about 9 parliamentary seats in Wilayah quite intact, about 13 parliamentary seats in Kedah quite intact. The second categories and the third categories are where the turnout will have a great impact on the results. The second categories are states where UMNO is neck and neck with Pakatan in terms of Malay votes, or UMNO is only leading by about 2 to 3%. These states are Johor, Penang and Perlis. In Johor, Penang and Perlis, a drop of turnout, especially the non-Malay turnouts, can actually alter the results quite significantly, especially in Johor, because we have about 15 very marginal parliamentary seats in Johor. Our simulations shows that a drop from 80 to 75 will drastically change the results in Johor. So it is going to be very crucial in Johor to get as many Malaysians who work in Singapore to come back. And I think that's the reason why they chose Wednesday, because they know that the battleground will be Johor, and Johor is the most acute in terms of sensitivity to turnout. It is less sensitive in Penang, because Penang is all about how many extra Malay majority seats that we can win, because majority of the parliamentary and Dun seats in Penang are actually non-Malays. So less sensitive, but it will affect about 2 or 3 parliamentary seats with a change in turnout. And we will not be able to win Kanga in Perlis, unless we have about 80% and above turnout. So that's second tier. The third tier is even worse for Pakatan, and this is where I think people expect to see a lot of changes. The third tier states are states where Pakatan Harapan is lagging between 5 to 10% Malay votes behind UMNO. And these are Perak, Negeri Sembilan, and Melaka. All the three states are states where Pakatan can actually take over the state government, given we win another 4 or 5 dome seats. With a decreased turnout, especially below 75, we will miss taking over Perak, Selangor, and Perak, Negeri Sembilan, and Melaka. And the last tier are the East Coast tier, the Kelantan, Terengganu, and Pahang, where BN is leading above 10%, and Pakatan and past votes are neck and neck. So that gives BN quite comfort in terms of lead, and therefore, and on top of that, there's not much non-Malay voters in those states, Kelantan, Terengganu. Therefore, Kelantan and Terengganu's results are not as sensitive to turnout as compared to the other states. So Johor, Perak, Negeri Sembilan, and Melaka are the states where the results can be drastically different with a drop of 5% turnout in the next general election. So Invoke is going to launch a website, pairing website next week, most probably Tuesday or Wednesday, where we will pull all the big data and try to get as many voters as possible to express their intention to vote by checking where they are going to vote. But we will also ask them, are you going to come back by driving? Do you need a transport? Is there empty slots in your car? Do you need a bus? Do you mind traveling with other people? We hope as many voters will fill this in and give it a big support, because then we will be able to match, well, it's a very conservative carpooling type of thing. We will be able to match those who are driving alone with those who need a right to go back to vote. And hopefully, those people we will persuade to become Pacha as well. So all is not lost, it's not as bad as what BN made it out to be, but it is also quite sensitive, especially in the key battleground states like Johor, Perak, Melaka, and Negeri Sembilan. Thank you.